So this module takes a look at your weight, but more importantly, your waist measurement management. Now, why I mention that is, you know, if potentially you may be carrying a bit of extra weight, or if you've gained weight over the last period of time. But what is more important than just what the scale says and how much you weigh is where your weight sits on your body and how it's distributed. Because, you know, in workplace wellness, we use measurements like the BMI, your body mass index, which is an indication of your weight to your height. But what the BMI does not give us is not just how much you weigh, but how much or how your body is made up in terms of that weight. Now, what I mean by that is I've often measured people's BMI. So I take their weight and I can measure their height, and they generally look all right, and maybe their BMI is okay. But when we do another test, so we look at either their waist circumference and we measure that, or we look at what's happening inside their body and we measure their body fat percentage versus their lean muscle, then I want to have the heart attack for them. So just using your weight is not enough. Also, if you're very athletic and sporty and fit and strong and you have lots of muscle, we know that muscle, although it takes up less room than fat, it is heavier than fat. So on the scale, you may look like you weigh a lot. So according to a measurement like the BMI, you may be put into the overweight category. Or I've seen some athletes, and especially bodybuilder type, strong athletes, be classified as obese. But that's not really true. They just have a lot of muscle and they weigh a lot. So don't focus on just your weight. I know as women, we become obsessed about that number. And like, until we weigh a certain weight, it's like we can't allow ourselves to feel good about ourselves. And that's really not healthy. What I'd like to rather focus on is the distribution. So if you are able to, is to go to a local pharmacy or a clinic, or speak to your personal trainer or your doctor or even your dietitian, any health professional. And at least, I would say once a year, have a test done where you can measure your body fat and your lean muscle percentage. You might even want to get your hands on these specialized tools that you can buy, like bathroom scales and things that you can use at home that are quite accurate when it comes to measuring these. And you want to be aware of how much your lean muscle and body fat is and keep it within the healthy range. Another really important measurement is your waist measurement, so the circumference of your waist. Why I say this is there is a lot of evidence and science that indicates that if you carry more weight around your waist, that puts you at a higher risk of diabetes, heart disease, and other illnesses like cancer. And why that is so is because weight that sits around your waist is very close to your organs, like your liver, your pancreas, your heart, your kidneys, and it tends to interfere with their functioning. It's also what we call metabolically different to weight that sits anywhere else. And fat around your gut, or what we call visceral fat, tends to produce compounds called pro-inflammatory cytokines. You don't need to remember that. You just need to remember that keeping your waistline in check is a good idea and a smart step towards managing your health and your ability to perform and just feel good. So what should your waist circumference be? Now, it's important to not use whatever your pant size is, especially for the guys, because generally when guys are wearing pants, the pants sit quite low on their hips, which is below what I call the problem area. So your waist circumference is that area. Usually it's between the top of your hip and your bottom of your rib cage, and it's the larger part of your waist. And if you were to measure that, or ideally go and get somebody else to do it for you so it's more accurate, you want to make sure that your waist circumference as a lady is 32 inches or 80 centimeters or less, and for a guy that it's 37 inches or 94 centimeters or less. You'll know though, if maybe over the last few months or years, maybe you haven't really focused on health and you've put on some weight, and if it's particularly sitting around your gut area, don't ignore that. It tends to be more stubborn weight that's harder to lose, but start thinking about how can you perhaps change your internal body composition for the better. And every single point on the Wellculator can help you to do that. We do not want you to go on diets that promise that you'll lose all this belly fat or lose lots of weight really fast. All of those programs tend to backfire. You may lose weight, you might lose stacks, lots of pounds, lots of kilos, but the hard part is once you've lost weight to actually keep it off. And when you use a fad diet extreme approach, sure, you can lose the weight, but when you go back to eating normally again, because it's so hard to eat that particular way or to stick to that program, or it's too expensive or it's too complicated, then what happens? You put all the weight back on, plus what I call VAT, and that extra VAT tends to sit around your gut or around your waist, putting you at a higher risk of those diseases and making it even harder the next time you need to diet. So when you want to lose weight and manage your waist circumference, is to look at all the different dimensions, and a good place to start is by looking at your Wellculator score. So once you've worked through all the modules, is to pick 1 or 2 areas that you feel you could work on, and I promise you, as your score goes up on the Wellculator, not only will you benefit in terms of better performance and energy, you will probably start to lose extra weight if you have that to lose.